fuck it. That's how it's gonna start. Fuck it. We're Trihards. We don't try very hard at all, and the name's ironic, because you're all fucking hipsters. You love irony. And what are we talking about today? I think it's what everybody's talking about still. E3. E3. We should introduce ourselves, but that would actually be effort. That would actually be trying. So we're not gonna do that. I trust our non-existent audience to pick it up as we go along. So we've chosen some topics we want to discuss, as well as a discussion that we are capable of having. Ryan, our resident beard guy, is going to go first. So what is it? Basically, we've all chosen like a top 5 moment thing. So, Ryan, what was the moment number 5 for you?
Let's say a nice number 5 would be the introduction of that rare 30-game collection.
Okay.
Quite out of nowhere. Surprised people. It could be a future, if it sells well, of showing that people are still interested in said games.
It's funny. There is something to that. I'm sure if they're smart, there's like an online component for it. Not as far as like multiplayer or stuff like that, even though I'm pretty sure there is.
Yes, games like Perfect Dark will have its multiplayer function working.
You best believe that they're going to be looking at who's playing what out of those 30 games. If people are playing a lot of Battletoads, you can count on seeing a Battletoads remake in like 2017. If that's what their data shows.
I just saw GameStop's started drawing Battletoads on the side of their windows.
That's funny.
And they say, go on and call. We have.
Oh, that's true. They will have Battletoads. Everything old is new again. But so what else about it? This is basically, I mean, I get excited for nothing, especially this. This is basically a collection of 30 games I probably don't care about. I don't know which 30 games are in it though. But Rare's a company. They've made one franchise that I care about, which they're not even in charge of anymore, so it doesn't matter.
That would be Killer Instinct, right?
It would be Killer Instinct.
Does the collection have the old Killer Instinct on it?
I think it does.
That's good news.
I think it does.
I do enjoy the fact that it has all the Banjo-Kazooies, even the one that everyone hated, and it has the Perfect Dark games, and plenty of other games that I've always wanted to try and play. So this will be a good opportunity to finally see what all the other Rare games were and see how the company really goes through.
Yeah, like I said, somebody's going to be looking at what everybody's playing. See, the thing is, they don't have to do that for Banjo-Kazooie because ukulele exists as a thing. People who want Banjo-Kazooie are paying for ukulele.
And we know how that Kickstarter's going.
That one's going very well, but Kickstarter is a kind of a weird topic right now, but we'll probably get to that later. Anything else you want to touch upon as far as the Rare collection goes? We actually got a lot to go through.
We do got a lot to go through, so let's move on for now.
So, I mean, what are your final thoughts on Rare collection? It's something we should all be looking forward to?
It's something that we all look forward to, and it makes me inching closer and closer to wanting to buy an Xbox.
Really? An Xbox of all things. Is it only on Xbox?
It's exclusive to the Xbox.
Well,
if there's a PC release, I wouldn't care, but now the only way for me to play that collection is the...
You'll buy... I know you're going to end up buying a PS4 but way before you buy an Xbox.
Oh, yeah. It's actually quite the opposite of what it used to be, because it was the 360 and get the PS3 later.
That is weird, but...
But moving on.
I'll go my top 5. My 5th moment. It's funny how the way this works. Halo 5. I think Microsoft had a decent conference. To talk about the Microsoft conference, and this is something I've already mentioned, but I'll say it out loud, is the Microsoft conference I don't think it wasn't disappointing. It didn't overwhelm me though, and all that means to me is that there was probably something for everybody. If you were interested, as far as these conferences go, as long as you're interested in one thing, it's totally worth it. I was totally interested in Halo 5 Guardians though. I'm not the biggest Halo fan, but I have bought practically all the games. I have the Master Chief Collection, which totally works now. It's funny that one of my older friends who I used to hang out with all the time, he's moved, but he was up for a few days. We ended up playing the Master Chief Collection. We played Halo 3 online. I had to buy a month of gold for that, which is its own problem. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We played Halo 3 online, and running at 60 frames a second. Holy fuck, that game is fun. He came over and it was like I did not expect to have fun with this game today because he wanted to play it and it was the best game to play, which does make a pretty saddening fact that Halo 5 isn't going to have any form of split screen, at least as far as the campaign goes.
That's a big disappointment for myself.
Somebody's looking at this data and looking at all the data and saying not enough people use this feature. There's two reasons for it. One, not enough people use this feature for us to work real hard to include it, and they came out and said the 60 frames per second is paramount to us, something that wouldn't be possible at a split screen level. So
you can say that all you want, but Mario Kart split screen still.
There's a
60 FPS.
lot less going on a closed racing track, and at 4 players, Mario
It drops
Kart,
to 30. It goes to 30.
It drops to 30. So you can imagine the gigantic, high resolution levels with all the AI going on, the giant level itself, all the players, more AI if you're playing with AI bots and not with buddies. There's a lot more going on in a map of Halo 5, and which isn't even to speak of the multiplayer. Warzone looks totally fun.
Yes.
Now, help me understand Warzone. It's basically Horde, but
yes.
but it's not just
Player
Horde,
versus environment, almost.
but it's also PvP at the same time.
Yes.
That's fucking awesome.
Yes.
So
And let's not forget about this, because there is the single player. There's the story of Halo.
Okay, you know me. You both know me. I hardly play games for story, and I know that the Halo lore actually.
I feel like they're trying really hard with 4, 5, and 6 for story.
I don't want to talk about 6.
Right.
Because we're still on 5.
We're still on 5.
I mean, I don't want to drag on about the story because first of all that would take too much.
Yes.
That would take too long. Halo 5's actually got pretty complicated lore. I just think it's interesting that they got old Spartans versus new Spartans.
And
That's
you're never going to be
interesting,
alone. You're always going to be with your team.
The way they approach the co-op is probably the best way they've handled it since they allowed 4 players because now it's instead of just straight up dying, you go down, somebody's got to revive you. The way you can communicate with your squad, assuming you're not using headsets, the way you can still do it if you're by yourself, you can tell one of your fuckheads to take a turret, do this, do that. It looks good. It looks good. And you know what? People are going to say that's just another fucking Halo game. That's fine. That's exactly what Halo fans want. They want another fucking Halo game. So, again, it's number 5 for a reason. Because it is just another Halo game, but it's a Halo game I'm looking forward to playing because it's fucking Halo. Carol, you're number 5.
Star Wars Battlefront.
I want to be more excited about that.
I'm very excited for that.
I've been so certain that the old Battlefront games were in third person,
Not on the PC.
not on PC.
Because
Yes. On PC.
Are we all sure about that? Because
positive.
so the console versions were in third person and the PC version was in first person.
Because it makes sense. Yes, absolutely.
I loved Battlefront back in the day.
I like number
because
2.
It was SOCOM.
I like number 2. It wasn't like SOCOM. There was no strategy. Are you thinking about something else?
SOCOM 2, third person online action.
Okay, but those are 2. Okay,
Because at the time when
they're third-person games, and that's where the comparison stopped.
Yeah.
You could just say third person. You don't have to fucking anyway. But no, I like Battlefront 2, especially when you actually started to play as the heroes.
Yes.
Because that was totally broken shit. But it's a weird thing when you think of Battlefront as a thing. It's like in most games you play as a mega guy and you're surrounded by. It's basically akin to playing as a soldier in Dynasty Warriors. One of those nameless, same-facey guys. That's actually the person you play as in Battlefront. The coolest thing... Okay, wait, this isn't my fucking topic. Why do you think this shit's so cool?
It looks much better. Battle of Hoth. Everything was presented well in the new E3.
Now, as far as I know, they have removed some features, though.
Yes.
Anything important? Anything you think? Because I haven't been following the game. I only know that some people aren't happy with some of the things they decided to remove.
All I know is that I'm excited for it. I haven't been following features.
Okay, so again, there's a reason that's number 5.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing that they added was the ground battle and the space battles. That exists in the same environment.
That's really cool.
You can start at the ground and go into space, or vice versa.
That's my favorite part of it right there. Because it just it makes you really feel like you're in Star Wars.
Well, because basically what they're trying to do is they're making a Battlefield game with a Star Wars skin, and that's totally cool. Now, like compare Battlefield to Call of Duty. Call of Duty is like a much smaller, faster paced, twitchy shooter, where Battlefield 4 encourages you to do shit like camp, especially because the gunplay is completely different. Bullet drop is a thing that exists in that game a way I don't think it exists in Call of Duty, so sniping is really hard, and not to mention all the vehicles, something that Call of Duty usually doesn't have as far as I know, unless they did shit in Advanced Warfare, which totally fucking mix things up. So it doesn't matter. Battlefield and Call of Duty are totally different experiences. So Star Wars Battlefield is basically what they're doing, but they still want a scope that's even bigger than Battlefield, because the Battlefield maps are fucking massive by design.
And do we have a release date on that?
Next year.
Next year. So probably maybe about 4 months after the movie.
Actually, yeah. I mean, which is another cool thing about Battlefront is they are going to hint at some things with Episode 7. To what extent, I don't know.
I'm looking forward to flying the Millennium Falcon.
If that's a thing you could do. Can you do that?
You can't not have that. It's got to be in there somewhere, maybe single player or something. You can't have a Star Wars game in this day and age not include the most popular ship in the whole series.
I don't know. The Knights of the Old Republic games for it. Oh, well, they had their own answer to the Millennium Falcon. It wasn't the Millennium Falcon, but you had the fucking Ebon Hawk in Knights of the Old Republic 2, some other fuck ship, and no, that was Knights of the Old Republic. Okay, it doesn't matter. Battlefront, it does look cool. Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. I'm excited.
Let's see. I'm excited too.
Is that a PC release?
It's consoles and PC. Yeah.
I am excited.
Day one DLC and all that shit's gonna.
Well, it's still an EA game.
Yeah.
It's still an EA game. You best believe you're gonna see a season pass and all the other bullshit we don't like seeing in games these days. But it's the modern. That's the game industry. That's my game. You know, if you still want to play games, you know. Okay, we're gonna go in a different order this time. We're gonna go in reverse order. So, Carol, we're gonna go right back to you with number 4.
Fallout 4.
Okay, overlap, because that's my number 3.
And I'm surprised it's so low on your list, honestly.
I mean, it wasn't a best worst. I thought we were.
Well, loosely.
Well, loosely.
Loosely, you know, there isn't a real order except for the top one. The one I wanted your number 1 moment to be your number 1 moment. Everything else is kind of in no particular order. Right. So, Fallout 4, which I think about my list, and I'll get to it. To me, that just means that Bethesda had the best conference.
Yes.
I think that, okay, but the whole grading conferences thing is a fucking game I don't want to start playing right now, because that's literally a discussion that goes nowhere.
Another can of worms.
So no.
Anyways, customization.
It's there.
Oh
it's
man,
there.
I am so hyped for customization. I'm gonna build the entire wastelands. Make my own United Kingdom of Odegaard.
Bethesda did come out and say that they are downgrading it, though.
In what way?
The graphics.
The graphics.
Well, you think of the scale of a sandbox game, at least. Not only am I glad they're doing it, I'm glad they're being honest about it. You know, because
I flat out don't care about the graphics.
I was gonna say when I think of games like Fallout 3 and New Vegas and why I played them and why I enjoyed them, it had nothing to do with how good they looked. Granted, I tried to play New Vegas the other day, and it's like, that's my biggest problem with those sandbox games, is I can't play them more than once. Because once I feel like I know
you
everything
say that, but you played the crap out of Skyrim.
I had mods and boobies.
Can't wait for those Fallout 4 mods. All the customization.
Let me ask you a question. In Fallout 3, you had the dog too, right?
Yes,
you had to unlock them and find them.
Oh, but the dog doesn't die in this game.
Yes.
Yeah, so you just feel free to throw grenades all day.
They can't see that, Ryan. Anyway, for those of you who are listening, Ryan did his best impression of throwing grenades, which was barely more than throwing crackers at fucking pigeons or something, but that's not the point. The response to Fallout 4, because Fallout's actually a game that a lot of people who aren't like really into games are into. And that's important, because that's what every video game wants. They want the casual crowd. So, which is why some more diehard Fallout fans are not happy with what they showed. Not to say that they're wrong, But, the game's not for them. The game's for everybody.
Yeah, those people are so far few and in between, it doesn't even make it matter.
Yeah, I mean, most people are quick to call them the vocal minority. And I'm not saying that's not true, but I hate using that phrase just as a matter of course, because it's like, it doesn't matter if they're... Why is the minority the only one talking? You know what I'm saying? Okay, but back on to Fallout 4. Which one thing did you see about Fallout 4 made you the most happy?
The way you can build your own house.
Just
basically.
the house?
And, the whole... I hope, because of all that customization, that there isn't no skimp on, the main quest. The main quest isn't going to be, an hour long.
You don't have to worry about that, because someone posted an article that said that the lead director of Fallout 4 hasn't seen all of the content that they've made yet.
Oh, yes.
I like that.
So,
about the house creating, though. You notice that there's no loading screens.
Oh, that was totally seamless. Yeah,
that's key.
Well, that's part of the processing power that even the new.
Another reason why the graphics are downgraded, so it doesn't have to do all that loading.
Well, see, as much as easy as it is to shit on the new consoles for not being very strong, they are still significantly stronger than the previous generation of consoles. In certain aspects, they certainly have better processing power. Every game doing 1080p at 60 frames per second, that's a far gone notion. Because they're
only the PC is gonna do that.
Not only depends on
the game, the textures.
Depends on the game. Wii U managed to do Bayonetta at 1080p 60 frames per second. You have to just scale your shit back, and then you can make things work if that's what you want. I don't think that's what Fallout wants. I think they're probably gonna go with the sub 1080 resolution. It's gonna run at 30 frames a second. But most people, we're the people who care about that shit, and that's why we're gonna get it on PC. The millions of people who own a PS4 don't care about that shit.
Exactly.
They're happy enough that their game runs and stuff like that.
They just plug it in and go.
Pretty much. It's pretty funny that PS4 has become the center mark. And not to shit on the Xbox One, because people do. Okay, that's a whole other discussion. It's not like the Xbox One is doing bad. It's doing better than the Wii U, technically speaking, sales wise. But PS4 has become the new focal point of where people want to put their shit. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 just came out and said we're the new home. PS4 is the new home for Call of Duty. Go fuck yourself, Microsoft. But now we gotta keep talking about Fallout 4. What was your favorite feature?
The customization on the guns. It looks like you can do almost anything on them, and I'm looking forward to making my teddy bear sniper rifle.
Teddy bear sniper. I remember in the time lapse they turned a plasma pistol all the way up into a plasma sniper rifle. So it's just a matter of...
I'm excited.
I
will play that game so much. I'm going to try to have one of every literal type of weapon that's possible.
Okay, I think you guys can guess my favorite feature, though. You should be able to guess my favorite feature. You were there for it.
The fact that you can do it, the character creation is confirmed?
No. Ryan, what is one thing I love? I love nothing, Ryan. What's one thing in this world that I love?
There's too much.
Dogs!
Yes.
I love dogs!
I don't want to say it.
I'm so happy the dog can't die. That's my favorite feature.
I didn't want to say it.
Oh, he's so cute. He's an actual German Shepherd. Okay, so there's no need for real closing thoughts on Fallout 4. We're all excited. If you have a brain in your head and you like fun, you'll be excited for Fallout 4. Unless you're not, and I guess that's okay. Just don't try to shut on our good time. With it, it's coming out this year. That was the big thing.
Yes.
That was probably the single biggest thing. November. I'll probably be in basic by then, but you bet your ass I'm gonna pre-order it.
I'm getting the Pip-Boy edition.
You're a faggot. Because you're gonna use that thing once.
Damn straight. It's gonna be like my Yu-Gi-Oh! Disc thing I have. Just sits there in the closet.
Okay. Yes. Fuck Yu-Gi-Oh! I forgot about that shit. All right, my number 4. My number 4. What did I say? My number 4 was Doom. Another Bethesda thing. Doom.
Looks exciting.
There was not nearly as much shown with Doom as there was with most other things out of the Bethesda conference. But I think that's the beauty of it.
Ripping limbs off of demons and beating them with it.
Yes, some people are really pissed that this is just basically a high-resolution Brutal Doom mod, which some people are like, whatever. You know what? I didn't play Brutal Doom.
Exactly. Neither have I.
I didn't play a mod for a game that's existed longer since I was a sperm.
Again, the minority for mods.
But that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Did you notice that was a theme of this year's E3? That
Mods.
Not mods, but they really, between Mario Maker, this thing in Doom, that thing in Fallout,
customization.
they're not customization, but giving players tools to create their own content to share with other players. I feel like I saw
That's
a
a
lot
big
of
thing.
that. There was a lot of that this year. But going back on to Doom, there's not much to say, and that's why I think it's so great, because Doom never had to be anything complicated. It doesn't need
to impress anybody.
It doesn't need to impress anybody. It just needs to be Doom. Like, just a demo that we saw, which is clearly a vertical slice, because the way in which you acquired weapons in that game, it was very obvious that was for presentation purposes and stuff like that. They really just wanted to show how the gunplay was going to be like, what it was like to fight monsters.
I would love for a hardcore story mode where if you die, you lose all your weapons and you have to find them again. That's how the original Doom was.
That wasn't it? Damn.
And I would love to see that mode.
Okay, it probably will exist because, I mean, my biggest problem with Doom per se, even though I don't have a real problem with it, is that it probably might still come out as a $60 game. Which when you think of the dev tools that is going to come, they're not dev tools per se, but like the tools that they put in so you can create levels. That might be worth the cost of somebody for the people who fucking actually use it. Because I know I own like Little Big Planet and a whole bunch of other games where they have shit like that. I don't touch that shit, and I still had to pay the full price for it.
But remember that multiplayer actually looks really fun.
Oh, I forgot all about the They showed off the multiplayer too. That's right. Yeah,
it looks really fun.
I mean, if I could just co-op, that's fine. I'm totally okay with that.
I wouldn't co-op though. It would feel different to me.
I
I've played Doom since. Well, it was before we were born, technically.
Yeah. Was it?
No, it was like 91 maybe.
Probably. We would have been too young to like
To know what it was then, but
it doesn't matter.
it was probably our first shooter. Still,
I
certainly
do
was
have.
mine.
Yes, I do have very fond memories of PlayStation 1 Doom because that's what my uncle played it on, and that was the one that had like not the like silly music. It had the real ambient
in all technicalities,
kind of
Doom 2 was my first Doom on PC.
There was a thread on 4chan. There was like, the fuck is this shit? You can't even aim up and down. Oh, Doom. It's the mark of a simpler time. It was the best. But no, again, we keep getting off topic because, again, there's not much to say. Doom just needs to have fast, fun gunplay, shooting monsters. I do like the execution moves, and that gets you health back.
I'm worried that they're gonna get a little boring to see repeatedly.
Oh, just like that, like one of my favorite games, Metal Gear Solid Rising. I did get tired of seeing the freaking Zangetsu fucking things. I forget what it was called.
I feel like they'll end up making it. They'll end up making it so it doesn't, because they showed in the demo happening every single time. Just about, it's not gonna happen like that. Because if it's getting you health back, it's probably gonna be sparse when it actually happens.
No.
Because Doom is supposed to be difficulty. If you get healed every time you get killed.
But Doom has always had a butt ton of difficulties. You
but if you're getting healed at every single enemy, what's the point?
It depends.
I guess we'll wait till we see more.
You remember the gameplay that a certain part of them would light up, for the execution.
It's a new type of VATS.
It's not really bad, so. But like depending on what part of the body you perform the execution on would depend on what kind of execution you got, which is totally fucking cool. It also appears that the enemies can execute you in a very similar style, assuming that wasn't just for presentation purposes.
I feel like that was for presentation purposes.
It's not so hard to put some Resident Evil 4 deaths in.
Resident Evil 4 what?
Deaths. Type deaths. We're gonna have 100 different ways to die. I feel like Doom's gonna do that.
Well,
I should actually say more Dead Space.
Dead Space 1 and 2 had some of the more brutal ones. I mean, Resident Evil 4 definitely has some brutal ones, but
I can count like 3, but Dead Space definitely. Never mind.
Oh, definitely.
Dead Space.
When you had the fucking deep throat of fucking scorpion tail, basically.
EA's
that's
last good game.
Pretty gnarly.
But that's going off topic.
EA makes good stuff. I mean, even though EA had a particularly embarrassing conference this year, I actually want to. They didn't even show too much of Mirror's Edge.
I missed it.
And people are overreacting about the whole fucking Faith thing.
That's what's funny about it now, though.
Yeah. I guess that is what's... I mean, I could look at it and laugh, but then I realized that some people are fucking serious about it. It's like...
She looks fine on the other side. It's just that one angle that makes her look different.
Say again?
What Faith thing?
A Mirror's Edge.
A Mirror's Edge?
They changed,
Yeah,
how,
what
she,
about-
they
they
changed how
changed-
she looks because she's a little older now.
Not
They-
older, they changed her entire fucking
True.
ethnicity.
She went from Asian to American Asian.
She looks... I've heard some people say that she looks like Cambodian.
That's
They say she looks
That's
like
hilarious.
Mattress Girl.
Yes.
And she actually...
But we're not going to get into
We're not
that.
gonna get into that. That's
we're not
something
gonna
else.
get into that. That's, so Doom was my number 4, which means we got to get to your number 4, Ryan. And... Well, you know what? This is going to roll for as long as it needs to because I only wanted to go for an hour, but we're only at half an hour, so we got to either pick it up or not give a shit. So, number 4, quickly go.
See about not giving a shit. What were you talking about? Federation. Metroid.
I have nothing to say about it because I don't care.
Not about the game itself, but about everyone's reaction to it.
I don't... That sounds like... It sounds like a bunch of really big fans that just don't like what they have, and I guess in a small way I don't blame them, but for the people who wanted the next... What was the last super serious Metroid game? It was
Metroid Prime
Other M.
M, which was horrible.
Other M, which people didn't like. That was the last big Metroid game.
They turned Samus into an anime schoolgirl. Her personality and everything changed.
Well, yeah, everything... Well, see, that's the thing. She didn't have a personality before.
She had a slight personality from the Metroid Prime trilogy on the GameCube.
Okay. Okay, well, I have no authority to speak on that because I didn't play those fucking games. But as far as I knew, she was just the silent protagonist bounty hunter. As far as I know.
But
So, I guess
as
they-
for Federation myself, if it comes out as like a maybe $15 eShop game, I might consider getting it.
It's not, but I thought it was going to be like a 3DS game, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3DS eShop, 3DS
Okay.
eShop.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely. I better not see that coming out at a $30 price tag.
Okay. I mean, it don't matter to me because I wasn't going to get it regardless. It has nothing to do with me liking it or
I
not.
have a
no
problem with
interest.
putting any shooter on a 3DS. I can't play them. It's hard. It gives you hand cramps.
Yeah,
I'll give it a try.
playing anything that's not menu based on 3DS is kind of awkward.
The 3DS is best for its RPGs.
Like, Carol, you have any opinions on Federation? Fuckhead?
I don't like it.
Well, okay.
I'd rather have seen a new Metroid coming out.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah, and I think Carol's reaction is a much more tempered reaction of how most of those people feel.
Yeah.
It's not so much they would have been against this.
You've seen the dislike bar.
I've seen the dislike bar, and I'm just saying that if this game was announced next to a full-fledged Metroid game, none of this would be happening.
Yeah.
I mean-
Just the fact that the word Metroid is in it is why people are hating it.
It also does not help significantly that Nintendo had a pretty lackluster conference.
Well, the conference itself I thought was alright. You know, it had a nice presentation. I loved the Muppets. How they did it.
Again.
That's all pretty
Okay,
good.
see,
The
but
problem is they used all their ammo before E3 even started.
with the Smash.
With the Smash, and a few months prior they had Nintendo Direct saying what was happening. Because they don't care about saving all year just to announce everything at E3.
Yeah, I know.
Instead, they want to do it little by little throughout the year.
Yeah, I know. But you know what's different about Nintendo's conference compared to other conferences is that it made me laugh a couple of times.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was just silly. Doesn't mean anything about the fucking games, but it did manage to get me to chuckle a few times. The Muppets were pretty funny, but yeah. There was too much of an emphasis on amiibos. There was too much emphasis. No Zelda. I think that's what
Yeah,
I'm.
that was-
I'm
Yeah,
not a
they-
Nintendo fan.
They stated beforehand that they were not going to show Zelda at
Which
E3.
is stupid. That should have been their
It's
kicker.
likely not ready at all. They're still where it's supposed
But
to be
what
its
if-
first open world Zelda.
I was gonna say, what the fuck have they been doing since they showed that one trailer?
It's a good question, but now we also
It's been
need to know
months
that they're
since
doing
that trailer.
something with the NX. They said we'll see it next year.
Next,
What, NX?
I don't
The
want to talk.
NX.
I
We're not going to get into that.
I mean, it's stupid. We could get into that, but I only want enough time to just say that it's stupid because it's a solution to a fucking problem that's existed since the Wii, technically, and by extension the Wii U, that they've had a horrible fucking time branding their products. They're terrible at marketing, at least in America. I don't know what it's like over there, but because they do well over there in Japan, but like, when the Wii U came out, nobody knew it fucking existed.
True.
Like, to the people who were their initial audience to begin with, the fucking casuals and the mothers and who just want to give their kid a toy for them to shut the fuck up. You know, they would buy a Wii U game and then it wouldn't work, to the point where, like, I think Target had, like, this thing, like, they had to put out signs that says, if you buy a Wii U game, it will not work on your Wii. You know, because they were getting a lot of flack for that. And so hopefully the NX is a solution to a problem, which is, like, branding, is, like, NX, which is assuming it's a fucking console, and we still don't even know that much. Because I told you how stupid the new 3DS marketing fucking naming scheme was. That's stupid. But okay, I'm done talking about it. I'm gonna get a fucking aneurysm. Are we on to number 3s now?
Yes.
Do you want to go reverse? Have him do it again, or do you want...
No, I'll go with number 3.
Which was your 4?
That's right. What was my number 4 then?
Doom.
Doom. Okay. Okay, then one of you fuckers go.
Alright, so how about the Mario Maker?
I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
You don't care what the Mario Maker is? I'm completely hyped for that because, I mean, I played Mario since I don't even know how young. I had an NES all my life. Just be able to go online and download new levels every day and play for the rest of my life.
That's pretty sweet, but, you know...
Like, I won't be great in levels. I lost my artistic bone ages ago. But, just like with Little Big Planet and other creation games where you can share content, I don't make them. I buy it to play other people's content.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, that is totally cool. I mean, I had brought up that there was a lot of that going on this year of, you know, which is kind of tricky when you think about it for a few seconds, because it's like, here, player, have all the tools so you can make your own levels, and it's like, why don't you just make the levels? And it's like, well, we're giving you so you can do it. I don't want to do that because, again, to go to the discussion of mods, remember when they wanted to sell mods for a spell, and they announced the fact that of the people who bought those games, who bought Skyrim on Steam, only like a single-digit percentage of people use mods, and only a smaller percentage of that actually made mods. Now, the reason for that is because you actually do need to sort of kind of be good at like programming and be artistic and creative and stuff like that. That's definitely part of it. So to put much easier to use tools in a game that lets you make stuff, that's definitely totally cool. Even I remember making Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 levels.
Oh, I remember those. Those are the days.
You know, and I ended up doing some pretty cool things. You know, or at least in my friggin' 12-year-old mind, I think it was cool or whatever.
Speaking of which, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5's coming out.
We're not gonna talk about that. not that I don't want to, but you know, what do we know about it other than it exists? Which is another theme of E3, but again, that's another thing. So back to Mario Maker. I don't care. Cal doesn't care. You only care.
I'm hyped for it.
Hyped?
I'm actually hyped.
Hyped.
Not hyped as I'm gonna go down and go streaking down a baseball field, but I'm hyped for it. Just like I love the fact that it's gonna come with, of course, your 8 stages that Nintendo will make. It'll probably come with some hard bullshit stages, but I really just can't wait to play Mario Impossible stages made by players.
Those already exist.
As ROM hacks. Woo! It takes you 6 months to make a single ROM hack, or it could take you an hour in the Mario Maker.
Okay, I mean, there's something to that. There's
a market for everything.
There's a market for everything. All right. I mean, I'm glad it exists for the people who want it, which is how I feel about most things I don't care about, which is a lot of things, but it is what it is. What's your number 3?
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh yes.
I want to be more excited about that.
I see. I know you said when you first saw it looks like more of the same, but for me that works out. I like more of the same.
No, I'm totally more of the same. Also, that's totally okay because clearly the first game did really well.
Oh yeah.
It didn't meet Square Enix's stupid fucking projections of wanting to sell like 5 million copies, but because that game was expensive to make, so hopefully this one wasn't as expensive to make.
I'm afraid that they're gonna downgrade it, but from what we saw, it looked so beautiful. But
see, that's the thing. The last gen version of it was so good. Even the definitive edition versions that came out for the Xbox One and PS4, if they just took those graphics again and put it on next gen graphics and maybe with a few extra bells and whistles, it would still look like a good game. And
they really spent a lot of time on it.
Hardcore ice climbing.
If Square Enix does one thing, it does their graphics well.
Yeah, I mean, again, but that totally inflates the fucking cost of their games when every game has to have a new fucking engine that they had to make, and then, you know, to fucking break even or do whatever, or to make money, they have to sell stupid amounts of games. Games that, you know, there was a time where Call of Duty was setting fucking records every year was coming out,
Because it costs so little to make a new one.
Yeah, but see, but that's smart. No matter what you feel about Call of Duty, that's fucking genius.
Yeah, it's very ingenious. Square Enix doesn't care about that kind of thing. They care about making the best of the best. Which is actually interesting because Square Enix has a ton of games coming out.
But they're still in development.
And I need to remind you that All the Bravest is a thing that exists.
Yeah.
So, Square Enix doesn't get off easy just because Square Enix does get something. We'll get to it later, but Square Enix does. Square Enix, I think, had a very good presentation this year.
Oh yes.
It was almost as good as Bethesda's, because Bethesda also showed a whole bunch of other little things. People are having a lot of fun with Fallout Shelter.
I wish I can get it.
And that's Mr. fucking Windows Phone here.
It's an iOS only right now. So it doesn't even matter if Mr. Windows Phone. 75% of the mobile user base is Android, yet they only made it for iOS at the moment.
Yeah, they want to play test it.
Doesn't matter because my Windows 10 phone will be
so for your I just want to point out, for your Windows Phone to be good, it basically has to become an iPhone.
No, the Windows 10 supports Android and iOS apps. It'll become what a true PC is able to do. It can do anything.
So basically, you have to have a little bit of iPhone in your phone for it to be good.
Yes, incorporating a little bit of everything is the best way to do anything.
If you're trying to sound profound, it's not working. Anyway, we were talking about Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I'll tell you one reason I'm not as excited as I could be is because it's a time exclusive for Xbox One, and I refused. Talk about downgrade all you want, because it's not going to be downgraded on the PC at all.
Yeah, no.
I could play that shit at
fucking.
I could play that shit at 2K 60 frames a second, and I'll be good when I can do that. So I'm excited. I'm excited that it will eventually come.
Yes.
I don't care for the Xbox One version at all. They can have their fucking timed exclusive. I don't give a shit. It just means that I won't play it right away.
See how it does too. Maybe it'll have problems.
I suspect it's going to do very well.
It's not going to do bad.
If it doesn't, I would like to see a few new gameplay changes.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see some new features.
Because it looks like
right now it looks like the same game, new levels.
And new levels. I hope they change the gunplay a little bit, or lack thereof.
I'd like more sneaking.
I always thought that game would be better if you only had a bow, and instead of having a whole bunch of different guns, you had a lot more modifiers for the bow.
And what about the fourth multiplayer they put into the last one?
I've seen no talks of a multiplayer in this one, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a good thing, because honestly, that was happening at the tail end of a time where everybody thought you had to have a multiplayer to be viable. This is back when because marketing has a lot of to fucking do. People, okay, not so much marketing, but a lot of how games are made come down from the top from people who don't know what makes games fun. They just see what works in other games and they decide that they want it, and not realizing that making that component is useless because the consumer already has that in the form of something else that works fucking better. It's like people were trying to compete with Call of Duty by being Call of Duty. You can't do that because people already have fucking Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So it's something like that. So if multiplayer didn't come back for Tomb Raider, I would not care.
Yeah, I wouldn't care.
So, but this was your topic. Anything else to say about it?
It just looks epic. That's about it. I'm very excited. I can't wait to play it.
Me too. I mean, I'm going to have to wait a little longer, but
I have no problem with waiting.
Yeah, me too. There's enough coming out where I don't have to play Rise of the Tomb Raider immediately.
Fallout 4 will fill that void.
You know what'll fill that void? The 10 Wii U games coming out.
10?
Well, there's 6 this year, then 4 the next year. Unlike all the other consoles, we're going to have to wait till next year to play any of them except for Fallout. So the Wii U has that edge. The fact that their games are coming out, they have release dates.
But are the games that people want to play? Because
the ones on the Wii U, well,
what's coming out on the Wii U?
Mario Maker, Xenoblade Chronicles.
Okay.
I think the RPGs genre still has a very select few.
And on 3DS, we got Triforce Warriors, the Hyrule Warrior port.
We were talking about Wii U games, though. There's 10 of them, if you only named 2.
I should have said 10 Nintendo games, not Wii U games.
There we go. Okay, who
that was
won?
My topic.
That was, so, what's your number 2, Ryan?
I'm really looking forward to that Horizon game.
I know nothing about it.
You didn't see it?
I don't know anything about it either.
It looks like it might be an open world, Monster Hunter-esque game.
Dreams too big.
We don't know what the characters. We don't know if it's gonna be character creator or not. The character they had which I do believe it is just going to be that character you're playing, as they talked about how she talks as she's fighting, and some people complain that she talks too much, but they also said that was for the conference only, just to show that it's going to be in depth and she'll be talking as you're fighting.
All right, that's cool. I mean,
but so basically you'll be fighting with it's a new age /
oh, is it like Dragon's Dogma?
in a sense, because you're going around like everything's futuristic, like all these animals are cross robotics,
That's cool.
and you have to hunt them down. And it was actually looking pretty cool. She's going out to hunt. Looked like in the video. Just need to hunt something for some sustenance and materials. All of a sudden, this big predator comes rushing by, and you have to fight it by dodging through. It looks like there might be a couple QTEs, maybe.
That's gonna work.
But it was really interesting to see, the way she destroyed the big monster was had to rush it and do a dive underneath it and shoot its cores underneath its body.
Okay, that's cool. Is there a multiplayer aspect to that?
They haven't mentioned as such, but it looks like there's definitely room for it.
There's room for it, but Monster Hunter is a lot of it ends up being a multiplayer experience. You can't.
The director said he was inspired by Monster Hunter.
Okay, that's not a bad thing. Monster Hunter is a game that I like conceptually, but
it definitely looks nice. It looks like it's gonna play nice. It's very action packed. Though some have complained that when you're doing, say, the slide motion I spoke of before, the game slows down. Like, fancy Matrix stuff.
Yeah, which I was gonna say, between that and the QTEs, I'm not sure how that's gonna work.
And I'm not sure if there is a QTE, because I'm not sure if it was gameplay they were showing us or pre-rendered. It looked like gameplay though.
Well, that's a stigma of fucking
E3.
Not even E3, just conferences, showing off games in general. I will never understand creating hype for a game with something that is not in the game. I will never understand basically creating a short film that has nothing to do with the game, outside of the fact that it's got that theme, to generate excitement for your game.
Yeah,
it's basically lying. it's dumb, but which is why I'm glad that we did see some gameplay from things that I wanted to see from. So yeah, I'm good about that. Did we talk about it?
But it's a PS4 exclusive, so... Which, by the way, Sony's really rocking the exclusives this year.
Yes and no.
Because some of them are going to PC.
Some of them are going to PC.
But sadly, Horizon is not, so I need to buy a PS4.
What did they actually show?
They showed entire gameplay footage of the Horizon.
You sure it was gameplay?
It definitely looked like gameplay. Because the graphics were not as good as what a video would have been. What CG would have been.
It can still get downgraded because, there's a history of it. That was the motif of fucking last year. Downgrade Central. Even Witcher 3 ended up getting slightly downgraded. Metal Gear Solid 5 even, they're showing some of the same footage and it doesn't look as good as it was originally presented, and that's a shame.
Yeah. I can't talk for other people because I know a lot of people, downgrade myself. I don't care about the graphics. Just make the gameplay good. Make it fun to play. There's
something to be said about the developers or the publishers not being honest. That's the bigger issue. It's if they showed quote the downgraded graphics from the start, I'm sure nobody would be upset. Of course, there would be a list of retards who was like it's like, oh well, this game looks like shit. Okay, but at least that's the most they'll be able to say. Now they're capable of saying shit like, oh, the developers or the publishers fucking lied. They said there was gonna be this and that, and sometimes the downgrade comes in ways that are more than graphical. That's not so much the case as it is with the graphics, but it is a thing that happens. So how did this conversation start?
Horizon.
That was your okay, yeah. Oh shit, it's to me. So number 2, Kingdom Hearts 3.
All right, that's my number 1.
I know that's your number 1. Any overlap for you, Carol? No.
No, he never owned the original Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, that's totally cool.
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes, I
and
did.
you have no hype for something that's in a decade in the making. Whatever.
Well, I'm not hype either. It's just that I'm glad it fucking exists and we saw some gameplay. If there was if they showed Kingdom Hearts 3 again, but without any fucking gameplay, I mean, okay, no, I wouldn't have fucking done anything. I just would have been fucking annoyed.
Yeah, but it was really nice to see something. It may not even still be gameplay. No, because at the end it said this is not final gameplay. It says this is still pre-alpha gameplay.
Yeah, we're not going to see Kingdom Hearts for a long time still. We're definitely...
Hopefully at the end of the year, in November.
Next year?
This year. They said...
No, I mean, the game's not going to be released.
Oh, yeah.
Because unless they're doing... Okay, because the complete and total absence and non-mention of Final Fantasy 15 makes me wonder when that fucking game is going to come out, because there was a point in time where I was saying Kingdom Hearts 3 is not going to come out before Final Fantasy 15. But now I don't know.
I wonder, wouldn't it be interesting if they released them both at the same time?
No, you don't want to do that,
because that would dwarf their sales, though.
Yeah, you don't want to put two big games. You don't want to put two big games.
You want
next
sorry. But
never mind. I just won't finish that thought.
Because on that thought, what if they're not saying about 15? They're gonna have a Kingdom Hearts 3 demo on the 15 disc. Like they advertised Final Fantasy 12 at Dragon Quest 8.
Or even recently, Type 0 came with Final Fantasy 15. No, they clearly have a history of this, and it's a little dishonest, because it seems like, let me tell you, I would have had zero reason to buy Type 0, to buy that game had it not come with the Final Fantasy 15 demo. But so to hide your demo behind things you might not have otherwise bought, which wouldn't be a problem if the thing you bought wasn't bad to begin with. And granted, Type 0 is not an awful game. I just had not had the time to play it. It doesn't interest me enough to play it. But what little I have, it is fun. The reason why they did that, though, is because they only wanted feedback from people who played the game. If you put the beta or the demo out in the open, in the wild, anybody could comment on it, whether they played it or not. So I remember a time after I had played the demo a bit, I got an email. They said, hey, we want your feedback. We know you bought it because, you submitted the information. So tell us your opinion on it. So that's how they've been gathering most of their data, because I'm sure we all know this, having worked retail. Feedback is invaluable. You literally cannot put value on feedback, because, granted, there's a lot of feedback when it comes to things people don't like. That's rampant. That's all over the place, to the point where it's hard to take them seriously, because then they're complaining too much about something that may seem mundane. The fucking backlash at the Mass Effect 3 ending, which granted was garbage, but I don't think it garnered the kind of response that it got. The way Diablo 3 looked when people were saying that it looked like My Little fucking Pony, and then they put a My Little Pony stage in it, so fuck you guys. But it's shit like that, which is why they want only feedback from people who actually play the demo. So to bring this all back to Kingdom Hearts 3, what I had said earlier that day at that conference, I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 is a game that needs a demo, though. They're wishy-washy about Final Fantasy 15 because of the lukewarm response to 13, so they want a combat system that's different, not 13, though. And having played Final Fantasy 15 demo, I'm not very excited for the way that it's playing. I mean, it's good, but there's some definite problems with it, and the biggest one being that a game that's clearly like action-oriented in a very Kingdom Hearts kind of way is running at 30 frames per second. Could you imagine playing Kingdom Hearts at 30 frames per second?
No.
I wouldn't want to either.
No.
Which, as far as I can tell, I hope Kingdom Hearts 3 runs at something higher than 30 frames a second, because the previous... That would be a true downgrade.
Like every single one's been 60.
Yes.
Even the ones on handhelds.
Yeah, pretty much have been 60. So, I hope to see that not get downgraded, because they're putting all their fucking eggs in the graphical basket for Final Fantasy 15, and it fucking shows. So, after this discussion, I really should show you.
I've yet to see it. So.
We are running out of time, though. We only have about 10 more minutes, so let's quickly get... We've inadvertently talked about your number one. Carol, what was your number one?
I didn't even talk about my number two.
What was your number two?
Uncharted 4.
Which they actually showed gameplay for. The weirdest thing about the Uncharted 4 demo was, it looked like the first time they showed it, nobody was there controlling it.
Yeah, right.
But that was kind of cool in the sense that because the way that guy didn't move, you knew it wasn't a video.
Yeah,
right.
You knew it was gameplay.
You knew it was actually gameplay,
nice.
And it looked like the guy fucking had to take a piss before he could actually play. He wasn't ready to show it.
Also, I was reading Twitter about people at E3 and whatnot. They said they didn't even show all what happens at that. There was a demo at E3 that people could play. There was more too. During that scene, you could play that scene, and then there was something more after that.
Oh, because I noticed that when you were driving, it looked like you didn't exactly have to go on the path that they went to. So
and that scene looks really fun.
That particular scene looks really fun. The first gameplay footage they showed, that looked really fun.
Yes.
I've always liked the Uncharted games. It's one of those few games that, much like Bloodborne, will probably get away with being at 30 frames a second because of... First of all, I'm just used to playing those games at 30 frames a second anyway. It's what they've always been before I kind of cared. So that doesn't matter. No, I too am excited for Uncharted 4. I need to talk at the mic. I am also excited for Uncharted 4.
How's the story correlation between the first 3 and the 4th? Do you need to play the other 3?
Probably.
Probably not, because number 2 you didn't need to play. Number 3 you didn't need to play. Right. They've been good about keeping it self-contained. The only thing you might be confused about is after the first game they don't really harp on about who these characters are. If anything, number 2 was a better game to... number 3 was a good game to start at because early in the game you play as a very young Drake.
Right.
And you see his like origins and how he met,
Sully and all that.
Sully. That's like, so if anything, the third one actually ends up being a pretty good starting point. Any of those games, you can play those games in any order.
All right. I've only played them a little bit.
So Uncharted 4, I imagine, is going to be very much of the same. Where you don't. I think the most interesting thing is the fact that his brother is out of there, and it's fucking Troy Baker.
Oh,
is his
yeah,
brother.
Of
So
course.
so now Nolan North and Troy Baker are finally in the same game, as leading roles. It's fucking funny. So no, I mean Uncharted 4 is very much, in my opinion, like Tomb Raider in that it doesn't have to do too much different for it to be good still. The driving was completely new though, as far as I know. I mean, anytime you got in a vehicle in other games, I think it was always as a turret section. This time you can actually drive the fucking car, which is cool. And if I remember from the first game, the way you can use the environment, it still looks very linear, but in a very classic Castlevania kind of way, where they want you to take cover, look around, while you're still being shot at, see what parts of the environment would be the best place to get either the best vantage point or be able to ambush some people before that. I only mentioned that because I was bored and I watched the sequelitis again on Castlevania. But no, it looks like level design is it's linear. Of course, it's linear, but it's not. But it's still slightly open-ended, like what you said, when you're driving the car, you can go off of different paths, and you'll end up going through different things. I think that at least that's what I take from that. But no, Uncharted 4, I'm excited for it. I own the PS4, so whenever the fuck it wants to come out, that's when I'll play it, because I know it's not going to be on other systems.
Right. Yeah.
Which leaves my number 1, which wasn't even on any of your top previous before it. I'm just excited for Deus Ex: Mankind Divided.
Yeah, that's a game I never played.
And that's also Square Enix, correct?
That is also Square Enix. So, in my opinion, Bethesda and Square Enix had the best conferences. For me, that shit's all subjective.
I still need to play the
highly recommend that you guys play.
I bought one of them. I bought Human Revolution. It's installing right now.
Okay, cool. What was I saying? No, because, again, it just needs to be Human Revolution. Just better. They need to add more, they didn't need to add more things per se, but they are. Now you're fucking, I could go on about the gameplay features, but none of you have played it, so that would just be a waste of time. But from what I've seen of gameplay, I'm excited. It looks like a return to form, not return to form, it just looks like, what it was. Because Human Revolution, even after the director's cut, still had some pretty glaring problems, especially where the bosses were concerned, especially where, some of the powers, the augmentations were totally fucking useless. So if you got the best hacking as quickly as you could, you can hack your way to victory for the most part.
In the game, you can choose whether to take a stealth route or a assault route, right? In a sense.
Not really. You're pretty squishy. You die pretty quick.
No, I mean you can choose try to sneak behind everything, or if you want, you could just try to shoot your way through.
No, shooting your way through is the worst way to play that.
Okay,
game.
So it is a stealth
and you know me. I like those kind of games where there's no fucking hidey stealthy bullshit. But that's a game that makes it the stealth where you want to stealth. because it feels cool to hack and find ways around things
That
and to
sounds
trick
right.
people.
It does sound very fun.
It's
I can't wait to actually play the Human Revolution when I get home from work.
Sweet. Okay, so quickly, we have 5 more minutes. Honorable mentions: Shadow Warrior 2.
Star Ocean 5.
No.
Can I quickly talk about my number 1?
Oh, what is your number 1? I thought it was.
right.
What is it?
HoloLens, Microsoft.
Okay.
HoloLens.
Minecraft, specifically, or anything that has to do with VR.
After I tried out the Oculus Rift, and Eric tried out the Oculus Rift the other day as well,
Yeah, it was okay.
I loved it. I see that there is a big future in it.
There's a difference between VR and HoloLens, though.
What's the HoloLens is different?
HoloLens is the holograms.
Oh, the holograms. Yes,
And
that's
the
right.
holograms.
With Windows 10.
I'm not sure if it's exclusively with Windows 10, but the thing is that Good. I know. I've not been looking at my phone. Sorry. HoloLens works off of holograms, and I need to show this a video to you guys where some guys said like the HoloLens is not exactly as it appeared on the stage, but the concept is still cool, and the fact that they're creeping close to that concept is still fucking awesome.
Yeah.
VR in general,
We're getting there.
I'll
say that much.
VR sounds like a discussion we could devote to entirely, at least
we'll
a
save
part
that
of
for another
a
time.
different podcast because we're approaching an hour on this thing, which means that,
Okay.
as I suspected,
Honorable mentions.
honorable mentions
Uh,
for Carol. You didn't plan this ahead of time.
no, I did. Last Guardian.
Oh, yes.
It made a showing.
I didn't talk about that because we weren't showed much again.
Again,
You never cared about those type of games.
it's not that it's I don't care, but it's not from malice. It's just that I never played the other games, so it's like.
I played.
And
both of them.
I look at games like I go and shout at the glass, and it's like, okay, I'll just play Devil May Cry. Because I remember
they're slow games. They're very slow games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with slow, but in small doses, and it still has to be like Bloodborne is a game I actually consider to be pretty slow, compared to things like Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Rising, or even a lot of shooting games. It's a lot more methodical, but I usually don't like the catharsis I get from video games comes from not thinking most of the time. Like Resident Evil 4 is a game I've played so many times, and I have all the overpowered weapons. Yesterday, I managed to get to friggin' 3-2 in an hour and 15 minutes with my overpowered weapon bullshit, and it's so fun. It's like it never stops being fun. But whatever. None of you played. I'm willing to bet that neither of you played Shadow Warrior, the new one, either. So Shadow Warrior 2 is totally
That's
wasted on
a
you.
side scroller, correct?
No, it's not.
It's not a side scroller?
No, it's not. It's a first-person shooter where you get to slash things with swords and shoot things at guns, and they added this whole vertical element to it. I'll put it on your guys' Facebook wall later because.
What are
it's
you
always
excited for? Honorable mention?
Honorable mention, I give it to Star Ocean 5 and Xenoblade Chronicles.
I'm actually intrigued by Star Ocean 5.
Ever since I saw that, I was like, that's really interesting. I have a Star Ocean game, and I've never actually sat down and played it. I started playing it.
They had me at the seamless transition to the battles.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that looked graciously
that's
amazing.
that's the point where I instantly became interested. An honorable mention I don't want to give, but I sort of do, is the second Nier game. I did not play the first Nier game.
I heard it was good.
But there's so many fucking names attached to that game, and it's being made by and it's being made by one of my favorite fucking developers. So, like again, until I see gameplay, I'll reserve my judgment. But that's the mere concept of that, like of all those people working on that is just exciting to me.
I'll have to play the other Nier, see what the hype's about.
I heard that like it's not great, but it's good. It's not great, but it's good. If I could get it on PC, I probably will try it out.
And Shenmue 3.
Okay.
I don't think any of us
Kickstarter.
played any of the Shenmues.
I played the second Shenmue game on Xbox, and that is all of my experience with it. And I can tell you that conceptually, like, okay, see, the reason why people are so excited for Shenmue 3, for the people who did play it, they that's even how they opened it. Shenmue's story was incomplete. There was from what I can guess, there was a total fucking cliffhanger or plot hole that was never addressed that would have come in a third game had it ever come. And the Kickstarter thing I watched the video from Super Bunny Hop, which is the same guy who spoke out against the HoloLens being like, not everything it seems to be. He spoke about Shenmue 3 saying, $2 million for a Kickstarter budget seems kind of suspicious. And then his suspicions were confirmed, he said, when he found out that Sony was going to back that project anyway. They wanted to gauge interest, though, much in the same way Igarashi did with Bloodstained. And you know what? There's something to that. But you know what I think the most honest way to do that is if they want to prove it to gauge interest, give the fucking money back. If all they wanted to prove that interest was there, which they proved within 12 hours, they should give the fucking money back, because clearly there's people who are going to fucking buy it.
Yeah.
I don't think that of the games that might actually need the money. Like Bloodstained is I mean, I'm sure they're not just going to throw away $5.7 million. I'm sure if they'll use it. But, like, if Sony, of all people, if they're the ones backing the project, they don't need...
They have some pockets.
I was going to say, they don't need whatever money they're going to get out of that Shenmue Kickstarter. But...
As companies probably end up using Kickstarter as a way to fund games and
again,
more
that's
money.
not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, but there's room for it to gauge interest. It's okay. But again, it would be much better if either they gave the money back or, it's clear that they were using it to make it better.
Yeah.
But on that note, we've reached the end of our podcast, which I think went very well. But so we'll be back next week, discussing God knows what. It's going to be a pretty heavy launch week between Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Sword, Devil May Cry. We're probably going to end up talking about Arkham Knight. Except for you, Ryan, because you don't play fun games. I'm just kidding. So on that high note, this is Trihards. We'll try a little harder next time. Probably not.